Call the meeting to order. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call. All members are present. Approval of the agenda. Is there any changes to the agenda? Council have any changes? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the agenda as presented?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Brad. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Approval of the minutes of the May 21st, 2025 regular meeting. I'll receive them in your packet. Is there any changes or clarification needed within those minutes? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve the minutes of the May 21st meeting?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. This now brings us to our public open forum. Is there anyone here that would like to speak to the council? This is separate from the public hearings that we've got coming, so. Is there anyone that wants to speak to the council? Call a third time. Is there anyone that would like to speak to the council? Seeing no one that wants to, public open forum is now closed. We will now move on to reports and presentations. We have a life-saving award. Kathy?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. We are here today to present life-saving awards to police, fire, and ambulance personnel for life-saving measures performed in the pre-hospital setting. If I could have everybody come up front, please. Just kind of line up around the, yep, right in front.
Right where you want to be, right in front of me.
On March 9th, 2025 at 2:51 p.m., the Sauk Center ambulance pagers sounded for a medical at the Four Seas restaurant. Dispatch advised that there was a female actively choking inside the restaurant. EMTs Jordan Hartman, Joyce Hunstiger, and Mark Roberg were at the Sauk Center ambulance garage finishing up a previous call when this medical was paged. Jordan took off on foot across the parking lot to go to the Four Seas restaurant, which is located 2 doors down from the ambulance garage. EMT Jeff Bromanchenko was also at the garage, and he decided to go after Jordan as well. Mark and Joyce jumped into the rig and notified dispatch that they were responding, as well as letting our local hospital know of the call and that it was a choking victim that they were responding to. EMT paramedic Nick Welly heard the call and responded directly to the scene from his residence. Upon Jordan's arrival, the victim was sitting in a chair with her head down on the table. Jordan checked, and although she was unresponsive, she did have a pulse. Jeff arrived at that time, and Jeff and Jordan went behind to move her, and she went limp, so they assisted her to the ground. Jordan rechecked for a pulse, and there was none at this time. Manual compressions were started immediately by Jordan, while Jeff went out to meet Joyce and Mark, who were just pulling up with the ambulance to assist in bringing in the equipment. He also called and updated dispatch that it was a full code and requested they page the Sauk Center Fire Department for more assistance. The hospital was also notified of the change of status to a full code so that they could get prepared. In the course of the events, the Sauk Center police arrived on scene as well as the Sauk Center Fire Department. The cardiac monitor was applied and showed that the patient was in V-fib and was given 1 shock with the automatic external defibrillator. She was not breathing, so an I-gel was inserted and the patient was assisted with breathing using the bag valve mask An interosseous IV, which is an IO, was inserted, and a first round of epinephrine was administered by the responding paramedic, Nick. During the next rhythm check, a pulse was detected, so manual compressions were discontinued. The patient was placed on a backboard and placed on the cot and taken to the rig for transport to the hospital. Firefighter Andrea Kerfeld also assisted in the back of the rig en route to the hospital, continuing to assist breathing for the patient. Nick was able to provide some sedation to the patient as well while en route to the hospital. At the hospital, she was stabilized before being flown by Lifelink to the St. Cloud Hospital Cardiac Intensive Care Unit for treatment and recovery. Nikki is with us today. She wanted to be here. She does not want to speak, but she wanted to be here to meet her rescuers. So once again, we have a life-saving crew to be proud of. Police, fire, and EMS worked together and provided the life-saving measures to save a life. And with our part-time advanced life support license and the availability of one of our paramedics on our crew, the chain of survival worked like it is intended. So congratulations, crew. And we have Chief Jensen has got the pins. We have EMT Mark Roberg. EMT Jordan Hartman. EMT Joyce Hunstiger. EMT Jeff Bromanchenko. EMT paramedic Nick Welly. Firefighter Andrea Kerfeld. Police Officer Dean Jungles. Police Officer Landon Gudum, I'm sorry. Police Officer Matt Mormon. All right, thank you to our latest crew, life-saving crew. Did everybody get their pen? Okay. Because of you, another beat goes on. So thank you.
I know they can hear us outside, but I think the city's very blessed to have all them people available
Absolutely.
to respond in those situations. So thank you to all of them. We will then move on to city engineer update. Keith?
Okay, thank you, Mayor and Council. It's a tough act to follow. So I don't have any life-saving stories, but the project is going very well, 2025 project. We're really right on schedule of what we've had back since March, actually. So within a week of the original schedule it was presented. So things are going really quite well out there. I would say we're approximately 27% thereabouts, I would say, finished with the project and scheduled really right on schedule if things continue to be completed entirely by the end of the season. So things are looking good. All the utilities between Birch, Pine, and the side streets between Fifth and Eighth will all be complete with utilities, sewer, water, and services by probably the end of this next week. And they'll actually be starting on street work. They're doing that right now with gravel. We'll actually be seeing curb come in Monday, Tuesday of next week. So we start to see some nice street improvements as well. We'll be starting on Birch Street is where you'll see that first. So things are going well. The contractor after next week will be moving to 8th Street. So that starts that deep and very narrow space of storm sewer and water through there. So that'll be that'll slow down a bit as they go through there because it's not going to go real fast for a couple blocks there. It's pretty deep and narrow, so that'll slow down. But that's where they'll be next. But everything really is going smoothly, and really pleased with how things are moving forward. So, any questions you might have for me?
I have a question. Are we updating the people what's going on Ash Street? I know it's probably utilities, gas, or whatever's happening out there.
Yeah, there's a couple gas connections that are going on over there. That's about all I know. I don't know all of the details of what their connections they've got going, but that's supposed to be fairly short term. It should only be a few days, and they should be out of there. Then they'll be doing some work within the project area itself. They are a little bit later than we had anticipated. They're about a week later than they were supposed to be in there. But it was some rain that we had from other projects. So hopefully they'll stay on track and not slow the progress that our contractor is making. But we should be okay. But if for some reason they get pulled out or whatever, something happens, that could be an issue. But we certainly are hoping and praying that does not occur as we move forward. So, but yeah, that should be pretty short-lived on there. They'll get out of there. It almost seems like it was perhaps a little more involved when they got into it. Some pretty old stuff, some old steel mains in there, and I strongly suspect that they found some things that they didn't anticipate, probably, because even today I was over and kind of went by I guess they're inspectors / engineers out there, and they were looking at plans and looking at a laptop and seemed to be sort of scratching their heads and trying to, seemed like something wasn't quite what they were expecting. So hopefully things will go okay and they'll figure out if there's any hopefully there won't be any big delays. But I will contact the Centerpoint and just see if there's any concerns as it relates to length of time on Ash Street. I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Is there an update as far as the South Industrial Park?
I don't have a date yet when they're going to come in. They are going to come in to mill that up and redo that, but I don't have a specific date yet. They've promised that it's happening. Based on the dates we're at, hopefully it's going to be really, really soon. But I will get on them again tomorrow and try to figure out a date. But hopefully it will happen. So we just want to get that done.
All right. There's no other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
EDA report?
So the EDA met today in regular session, which is a regular meeting the first Wednesday of each month at noon. They had a couple things on their agenda. They talked about an SCDP loan and grant to Arrow Health for some electrical code and accessibility upgrades. They did direct us to proceed with that. Now we'll be doing verification, notifying SHPO because it's in the historic district and some things like that. Once all of that is verified, it would come back to the City Council for approval of contracts to proceed with that assistance for them. And then also looking at the proposal of layout of Canna Avenue, which is off of 12th Street going south down toward the 42 acres by Walmart. And how exactly would that look if we extended that down to meet Tractor Trail and to kind of get a better flow of traffic through there. So we'll have some drawings drafted that out of what that could look like, and that would come back to the City Council to see if that's something we want to proceed with moving forward after the EDA is done reviewing it. So only two things we really had on the EDA today was those two projects. I have no action items for you tonight on that.
Okay, any questions? All right, we have a public hearing, so we're going to recess this council meeting and we will enter into our public hearing. We have one public hearing before us this evening in accordance with the official mailed and public notice in the matter of to consider a variance from curb cut dimensional standards. It is our intention that everyone has the opportunity to be heard. If you wish to speak, please sign in on the sign-up sheet at the back of the room. The procedure is as follows. Presentation by staff, followed by questions of staff, then public input. Raise your hand. When recognized by the mayor, approach the podium and state your name and address for the record. State your comments and position. No one will be allowed to speak a second time until everyone has had a chance to be heard. First, we will hear questions for clarification. Second, public in favor of the proposal. Third, public speaking against the proposal. After everyone who wishes to speak has had the opportunity to be heard, the hearing will be closed. After closure of the public hearing, the council will deliberate and take action as appropriate. Members of the audience do not participate in the council's discussion unless a majority of the council concedes to hear additional information or questions. The hearing is now in session.
So as you said, the city council should conduct this public hearing to consider the request of RLF Holdings for a variance from the dimensional standards outlined in City Code 96.020, which is the curb cut standards and driveway access approval. I did include in your packet a copy of that section of the code, and I highlighted the section that they're looking to vary from. RLF Holdings is the owner of Lot 10, Block 3 of the Sauk Center Industrial Park, located at 651 Lincoln Loop. The property is located in the IC Industrial Commercial Zoning District. The applicant is requesting relief from the standards in the city code that sets a maximum width for a curb cut and driveway within the road right-of-way at 36 feet in the IC zoning district. The current driveway and curb cut in the right-of-way is 28 feet. The request is to widen it to up to 50 feet. Other driveways in the industrial park range from 18 to 36 feet, with one property having 3 driveways at 50 feet, which was grandfathered in, as currently existing at the time the code went into effect, and one driveway 44 feet wide that is shared by 2 lots. So we kind of have a varying amount of driveway widths. The majority of them do conform with the existing city code. The applicant states in her applicant that this lot sees frequent semi-deliveries and pickups. Due to the current layout, the current driveway width makes entry challenging, especially on blindside approaches. We've made major investments in improving and beautifying the lot. This variance would allow us to complete the final steps of the project, which is the parking lot. She further stated that if the variance is not granted, we'll be unable to safely and efficiently accommodate both semi-truck delivery pickups and customer visits. The current driveway width causes congestion and limits functional flow during business hours. This restricts the property's reasonable use. The result would be diminished access, unnecessary traffic stress, and a missed opportunity to complete the lot's big picture improvements that benefit the wider neighborhood and honor this long-standing site's role in the Sauk Center Industrial Park. The City Council now should consider the site layout and access, the use of the site, the neighboring properties, and the city code in conducting its analysis of the request.
Okay. You all have a copy of the variance or the application in the packet. Also highlighted on page 20, it says for commercial properties, the maximum allowable curb is 36. Is there any questions or concerns so far?
So we touched on that there's existing driveways of 50 feet. There's the one business that has 3 accesses that I believe it was I read. Which business is that?
That's it's the tow lot, but it used to be Walters Trucking,
Okay.
way up on the other end.
And that one was grandfathered in when
Right.
put that all in. Driving by there and looking at it tonight before I came to the meeting, if you drive by there, the double dock doors that are on the Hogslat building facing the north, that's 36 feet wide. 2 semis side by side. So I don't see, other than her statement saying that it's blind side approaches, which obviously means they're driving past and they're backing into their lot. So, and to me, that's not a safe situation to be constantly backing up on a road to back in. One of the things, it says it'll improve and beautify the lot. Well, personal opinion, it's gonna take a lot to beautify that lot because they're mixing compost and everything there. And it has nothing, and they stated when they went in there that everything was gonna be inside the building. So, is there any other questions or comments on this variance? Otherwise, I'll open it up to anyone in the public that wants to speak. Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor, against, or needs clarification? Is there anyone here that needs clarification or wants to speak in favor or against the proposal? Is there anyone here that wants to speak in favor or against or needs clarification on this proposal? Does the council have any questions?
Is there, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just had a question regarding, because I have parked in this, I've used this parking space that our aerial is from, and I do find it kind of cumbersome to find, if there were more than 2 vehicles in there to park. To build the parking lot, I'm just curious where that's going to go and how the use of widening it would, like what the intended flow would be. I don't know if that can be answered.
So what she said was that, when they redo the parking lot, they'll redo the driveway and have the whole driveway wider as well. And that, said it doesn't come in, she's gonna try to straighten it, she said. It's kind of got a little bit of a curve in it. She wants just to have it go straight out. So most of it will be on actually the south side of that driveway.
Yeah, if you're looking at driving by now, they're using bunkers, or not, they wanted to put silo bunkers in to put their stuff in. Well, right now, they're using cargo containers as bunkers. And 3/4 of that parking lot,
Is being used up. It's
well,
storage.
they're dumping everything there and then they're mixing it all right there. And to me, it's not conducive to the area. You got a neighborhood just to the east of them. I know it's an industrial lot, but
And right now, we're not talking about the parking
Right.
lot itself because this permit is
It's just the
solely
width.
for what they can do in the right of way.
it's just the width of the current. But
Yeah.
I think if 2 semis can get side by side at loading docks on a couple other buildings, because the Bankers Association has got a double loading dock that's 36 feet wide too.
And that particular access is, I know the parking lot's 36, but is the entrance 36, the whole thing? It's all the way in double
The
out and
entrance
all that?
to the loading docks
All
is
36 feet?
36. Yep. It doesn't even come close to their parking lot on those 2 particular spots.
And is there others other than Walters that are 50 feet? Or is it only Walters? But that's kind of a drive over curb, is it not in some places? So that almost that whole area at one point used to be,
Well, no, it's
Driveway.
regular.
A driveway.
It's regular curb there. It's not drive over.
there's no drive over in that area in that corner?
On those entrances,
I think
that's
so.
all surmountable
Um,
for the semis that went into that business.
I'm just saying that at one point it appeared to me, if I remember right, that most of that whole corner, I mean, they were on and off there in a lot of different areas. I was
They
just,
have 3 different accesses on that corner.
yeah.
Right.
I'm just trying to see if there's any consistency of 50-foot right-of-way accesses, in the industrial park that would reflect as to why we would grant a 50-foot in this location, other than that corner.
Any other questions? Otherwise, we will take action on this when we get to action items.
Is there nobody here to speak on behalf at all? Is that you,
I
Vicki,
had
that's
emailed
representing?
her, I emailed Christie to say
She's
we were
not
meeting
here.
tonight on it.
All right.
So, with that, if there's no other comments or questions about that, I will close our public hearing and reconvene our regular council meeting. 7A, approve resolution 2025-49, approving the variance from curb cut dimensions.
So as you just stated, this action is subsequent to the public hearing, considering a variance from the driveway access standards to allow a curb cut and driveway in the road right-of-way larger than is allowed by the city code on Lincoln Loop. And I have resolution 2024, it should be 2025-49 granting the variance. If the council chooses, it can modify the resolution prior to the approval, or they can deny it. So you have all of those options. This is more of a template for you. So that's resolution 2025-49 for the request for the variance for RF Holdings LLC.
Okay. Comments? Otherwise, do I have a motion one way or the other?
The only comment I have, Warren, you brought up that access and how they're doing with the blind approach and backing in. So actually I did drive by there tonight and witnessed that was how the truck entered as they did drive past and back in. I know we got that funny corner there and stuff, so I don't know if that's the reason for that, but that is how they are entering that lot from what I observed there. And there wasn't a whole lot of room in that driveway too,
Yeah,
for another vehicle, that's for sure, based on the current width, so.
So to make that 50 feet or even 42 feet isn't going to help their parking situation. So it's going to make an access easier for them to get their semi off the road, is the way I look at it.
But isn't the request
The
for a
purpose of the
curb
request is-
cut? That's what the request is for. It's not
Right.
necessarily for parking.
Yeah,
No,
Yeah.
right.
But even accessing the parking lot would be difficult. You'd wait for a semi to complete backing in, sitting out on Beltline to get in there and, pay your storage fee or whatever you gotta do.
You got to do that irregardless if it's 36 feet or 50.
But you can't get by a truck at the same time. So that's the traffic
You're not
congestion. I
going
can
to
see.
anyway. Because if they're backing in irregardless of width of the driveway, they're blocking the road. You ain't gonna get past it to get in there.
well, that's where it'd be interesting to know how they're accessing, if they have the wider width, if they're coming in normal and then getting a turnaround or something with that expanded parking lot.
And if you look at the parking, at what's in there now, there's no way even a semi, if it drove in there,
Could
wouldn't
turn.
be able to turn around and.
Yeah, I don't know how they
I don't
plan to
know how they
readjust it. That's
plan on
where,
doing it.
that's
but-
where maybe having that,
I think
them
part of
here
her
and
concern is that
communicating with
somebody's
us.
back in and they're occupying a lot of that area, and then other customers can't come and go because it's not wide enough to accommodate both the semi that is backed in and is unloading and customers at the same time. Not necessarily two semis, but like residents or customers that come and go to that
Right.
business.
Personal opinion, I think they created the problem themselves.
Also, I think it's on a corner, so is there that in itself does make it more challenging, I'm quite sure, for semis backing and
Right.
coming and going, but
Yeah.
would it,
Coming in this way, backing in.
do we need more information? That's just my question.
Well, it's
I
just the
don't-
curb cut, so it really isn't,
So
I don't know what other information they could give us.
that'd be, to me, I guess it'd be, what's the greater plan? Like, how are they mitigating this, with a wider entrance? Are they mitigating that back in? Are they able to, with the parking lot expansion, are they able to come in and then back up just within their lot to not affect traffic? Now, granted, that might impact customer entrance still if you're maneuvering
Still
there,
might
so,
impact.
you do have the opportunity, if you want to ask them these questions, you can table this action.
yeah.
And take it at the next meeting. Or you can approve something, you can deny it, and she can still go to 36 feet. You can approve something in the middle, or you can approve the request.
Yeah, because, true, if we deny it, she can still go to 36, because that's what she doesn't need a variance for.
Yeah.
And she'll have a wider driveway than what she's got now. So
And she's currently at how wide?
she's probably only at 24, maybe.
What it is right now, it's
28.
about, just about
28.
28.
So she'll get an extra 8 feet.
8 feet.
And if you look at Talk Incorporated, you look at all of his entrances and everything down there closer to Beltline, his are all at 36. And he doesn't have an issue with semis going in and out of there either. So,
Well, to me, it seems like we have questions, so with that, I'll make a motion to table it for us to gather more information.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion by Brad, a second by Heidi to table this action until the next meeting. Is there any other discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed? Aye. Abstentions? Motion carries 4 in favor, 1 against, no abstentions. 7B, approve resolution 2025-50 approving minor subdivision.
Kelly Kerfeld, on behalf of S. William Property Management, has requested his parcel of land at 1315 Beltline Road be subdivided into 2 parcels. Parcel ID is 94-585660008. It's about 5.12 acres in size. The property is zoned IC, Industrial Commercial. A certificate of survey has been provided. The property will share the driveway onto Beltline Road with an easement in favor of each other for access. An easement has also being granted as part of the procedure along the west side of the property for utilities and drainage. The water, electric, and sewer will come off the end of Pendergast. The resulting parcels, once approved, will meet all required zoning criteria as a standalone parcel. So the action to request is to approve Resolution 2025-50, approving this minor subdivision. And you do have a copy of the certificate of survey in your packet that does show those easements that I talked about, along with an existing temporary turnaround easement and utility easements on the property.
Okay, questions?
Would they have the ability to do at some point another access to Beltline if they wanted to actually split them 2 lots up down the road?
It's up to the county.
Okay, so that would go directly to them.
That's a county highway, so they're the ones that get to have that say.
Gotcha. All right.
Any other questions, concerns? Everyone understands where the property is? Okay. With that, do I have a motion to approve Resolution 2025-50?
So moved.
Motion by Brad, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Any last minute discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7C, approve resolution 2025-51 approving specs and solicitation of bids fire truck.
So Fire Chief Jeff Romanchenko has requested the City Council begin the process of replacing the 2008 Chevrolet 4-door crew cab first response truck with a newer model. The newer model to also act as a secondary grass rig. The existing truck is not suitable for off-road grass fire responses. They did submit some specifications they submitted to obtain an estimate of what kind of dollars this will cost, and it's estimated at $335,000. The Department's Fund 224 has $209 in to go toward the purchase, but because the truck will take approximately 2 years to build, we're confident additional funds from the fire relief over the next 2 years will cover the costs. The department is requesting the CIP for 2027 include the replacement of the truck, and that the department be authorized to finalize the specifications to go out for bid, and those will be brought back to the council. But right now, what we really are looking for is to begin the conversation of how that's going to work and get the final specifications done. And then before they would go out to bid, that would come back for approval of the city council and exactly how that would look. But Jeff is here to answer any questions that you might have regarding that and the purchase of the truck. We always have to get about 2 years out in front of fire trucks and ambulances. So,
Okay, questions, concerns? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve resolution 2025-51?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Brad. Any last minute discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carries 3 in favor, none against, 2 abstentions. Okay, 7D, approved debt management policy.
so as we're preparing the documentation for the upcoming bond issue, we have various scenarios we reviewed to ensure that the city obtains the lowest rate. This rate is directly related to the bond rating for the city, and one of the ways to keep a healthy bond rating and ensure the ongoing financial health of the city is to have a debt management policy to guide future city councils in its decision-making. With the assistance of the city's bond council, a policy was drafted for review and potential adoption. It has several guidelines for the city to follow as it structures debt and plans for the future. Some of the things a lot of it's boilerplate information, but it also says that debt shall not be issued to finance capital projects or assets with a life of less than 5 years. Debt shall not be issued to finance operations. Debt shall be limited to 1.5% of the city's estimated taxable market value, and total annual property tax levy to support GO debt shall not exceed 30% of the levy. And then we also have processes and procedures of how we go about issuing debt. Really what it is it is a guideline to follow. It also states all the different statutes that govern the issuance of debt for the city, and it's just really a working paper for the city council to understand how we start to go through the process. But as we were working with Standard & Poor's on our upcoming bond call for this, that's one of the questions in the questionnaire, is how recent is our most recently adopted debt management policy, and I'll be able to tell them hopefully tonight, June 4th. So that's what I'm asking for tonight, to approve this debt management policy for the city.
Questions?
Is there any changes in what we've done in prior?
The things that
Practice.
are different here is we did add the total annual levy to support GO debt, because some cities are getting quite high in that area, and it just kind of tells us, that kind of guides how much projects we can do, and yet it's try to keep the taxes down for the existing property owners. So that's new. Financing operations, we've never used it to finance operations, so I don't see that that's a problem, and really you don't want to do that. And the other thing is the taxable market value of the city, to set a limit on what % of that. There is debt limit out in state statute, which is all your debt, and this is like our GO debt, because we'll have revenue bond debt that may not be the same. So just some things that we added that maybe we were doing but weren't written in policy, and so we're just kind of putting that in form, making it formalized.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Otherwise, do I have a motion to approve the debt management policy?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Joe, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Scott. Last minute discussion. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7E, accept resignation of seasonal employee and appoint seasonal employee in the parks.
So our current summer seasonal student employee, he obtained an internship in a related field to his studies, and he actually left employment on the 29th of May. We did look for a replacement, and we did select one, and requesting that we accept the resignation of Jacob Robichon effective May 29th, and we approve the appointment of Carter Kleinschmidt effective June 4th. And that would be at step 3, because that's where we're kind of starting our seasonals. So we're looking to accept the resignation of Jacob Robichon and appoint Carter Kleinschmidt as presented.
Questions or concerns? Otherwise, do I have a motion to accept the resignation and the appointment?
So
To
move.
approve.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Motion by Brad, I heard you first, and Scott's seconded. Okay. Any other last minute discussion? Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. 7F, approve pay request number 2, Keekly Underground on the Birch Pine project.
This is pay request number 2 of our total contract with Keekly. The total contract was $4.77 million. They have completed to date $862,000 and have material on hand of $360,000. So the total amount they have earned at this point, at the point of this pay request, I should say, was $1,222,627.41. We do retain 5%, and we did previously pay a large sum, leaving the amount due with this request $443,432.84. So that we are looking to pay that pay request number 2 to Keekly Underground in that amount.
Questions, concerns? Hearing nothing, do I have a motion to approve pay request number 2?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Joe. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 5 in favor, none against. Unfinished business, airport property purchase.
So after the council meeting on May 21st, the final agreement was reached with the Herons on the purchase of their property. The purchase agreement was updated. It's being reviewed by our attorney. The meeting was scheduled for today at 9 a.m. with the FAA regarding the required submittals, but that got pushed forward at the last minute. The closing on the property is tentatively set for June 23rd, 2025. So we're still working through all of the details on that and trying to get that in front of the FAA prior to that, just to make sure we have everything that we need. I don't have any action at this time, I'm just kind of giving you an update of where we're at. We keep moving it forward, so that is a good thing.
Okay, any questions about that item? Update on building improvement projects?
If you've been around, you've seen there's a lot of different things happening with the building improvements, with the arena. You know, they've been working in the locker rooms, getting those ready and getting ready for tile. The doors have been purchased for the arena. The membrane roofing is the next project after they leave here in City Hall. At City Hall, the shingles have all been replaced. The membrane roof, fire hall is done, police roof is done, and they're now working over the front entrance. The only things left to do with those are the metal caps that go along the edge. So they'll be coming back to do that. The air unit is on the top of the roof right now, natural gas yet to be installed. But they've been in working on getting the system balanced and getting the set points in, how that's going to work, and kind of testing it out. We're going to see what temperature works best, and it'll shut down overnight. It'll shut down on weekends, so we're not heating and cooling the building during those times. We can override that if we have council meetings, it gets hot in here or whatever after hours. The AV enhancements, of course, the TVs and everything are in here, and the website's been working on. The building security controlled access, all the staff and the fire department, everything, they've been issued their fobs to come and go. There's some things that aren't quite working right, like the front door, the alarm goes off at 4:30 when it locks, so we have to go down and unset the alarm. And then now we can't figure out how to keep it open for meetings except to let you in the other door. So just some things like that that we're working our way through on how that goes. The flooring, you know, that we were putting that off until fall. So, you know, you awarded the bid. We're just in the process of getting samples so we can select a color. Library windows will also be in the fall, and the senior center roof will follow too. So there's a lot of moving parts happening, a lot of things that are going on. Have been a lot of activity the last 3 or 4 weeks. When the air was shut off, it turned out to be 95 outside, so it was very pleasant in here. So we'll really appreciate it when the air starts moving again. So I don't have any requests of you for that. I just want to kind of update you of what's happening.
Okay, any questions on any of that?
Do we know when the keypads on the fire hall are gonna be removed, the ones on the existing doors?
The what, sir?
The keypads that we can still use those as well?
There's going to be, you're kind of having some duplication with keypads and fobs.
Yeah,
And until everything is working perfectly, we're not going to change that.
that's, okay. Perfect.
So try the new one, and then if it doesn't work, you get in with the old one. And then they know what to fix on the
Yeah.
new one.
And we're trying to do some timing thing, like on the fire hall, like the first one opens the door, leave it unlocked for a little while, because other firemen are coming in rapidly at the same time, and don't have everybody fob in. And there's some things that Joe's working out as he's learning the system. So,
Okay, we have no new business. That moves on to the consent agenda. We have a schedule of claims, unpaid claims of $826,764.01 for a total of the same. We have resolution number 2025-52, accepting contributions of $98 from the men's card playing group to be allocated to the senior center. $200 from John and Christine Felling to be allocated to the fire department. $1,000 from Dale Emmel to be allocated to the fire department. The next group of people are for street lighting brackets, $80 from Center Rehab PC, $500 from Truckers Inn, $50 from Norgren Plumbing LLC, $80 from Trevor Thompson, $250 from Minnesota National Bank, $30 from Sarah and Josh Trisco, $500 from the American Legion Auxiliary, $100 from Timothy and Aaron Larson, $200 from Sauk Center Rotary Club, $240 from Pine Country Bank, and $100 from Magnify Financial. And the rest, the following ones named off are for the 2025 flower baskets. $250 gift card from Felling Trailers, $25 from Tread Industries, $100 from Tim Campson Agency, $100 from Pine Country Bank, $100 from Boyer Motor, $100 from John and Christine Felling, $25 from Michael Braham, $150 from Next Door Bar and Lounge, $100 from Frederick's Tire and Oil, $50 from Able Chiropractic, $100 from American Legion Post 67, $500 from Community Connection of Sauk Center. Also, $25 from Main Street Dental, and $50 from Highland Quilting LLC. And on behalf of the council and the whole city, I want to thank all of those people and businesses for their donations for all three of those items for the fire department and the flowers and the brackets. We also have gambling application for exempt permit request from Holy Family School for a raffle for September 13th, 2025 at the Sauk Center American Legion. A request from Angie Marshthaler, representing the American Legion Auxiliary Unit 67, has submitted an application and permit for a 4-day temporary on-sale liquor license during the Sinclair Lewis Days at the fairgrounds from July 16th to 19th. Fee and certificate of insurance are being provided. We also have a temporary extension of premise permit and road closure for Sinclair Lewis Days street dance on July 19th, 2025. The road closure request is a 2-block area from Main Street, the stoplights, to Elm Street from 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. and closed 1 block from Main to Oak Street from 6 a.m. to 3 a.m. Erie Kellerman plans to close the road at 6 a.m. for the car show and street dance and reopen at 3 a.m. following cleanup. The fenced area will be from the Palmer House across to Geierman's and at the intersection of Elm Street. Also, partial closure of Oak Street from Sinclair Lewis Avenue up to the alley on both sides of the street till 4 p.m. for the car show. The car show street dance road closure permit will be sent to Jody Take at the county after council approval. We also have a request from Erie Kellerman doing businesses Next Door Bar and Lounge for a temporary extension of premise permit for a 16th anniversary party with music on August 2nd, 2025 in the back parking lots. That's Next Door and the food shelf from 6 p.m. to 3 a.m. An assembly permit request from Deb Holt for a Corpus Christi procession to be held on June 22nd at 2025 at St. Paul's. About 200 people are expected to attend. The procession will be from St. Paul's Church down Birch Street to Our Lady of Angels Church and back down Ash Street. Is there any questions about the consent agenda?
Can you just give me the number for schedule of claims at the very beginning, that 8 something you said?
It's $826,764.01.
Thank you.
Any questions, concerns?
The procession down Birch Street,
Yeah, I was wondering about whether or not they're gonna be able to do that because of the road construction.
even down Ash Street, depending on how long CenterPoint Energy is gonna be.
Well, from Lady of Angels Church back, they shouldn't have, I don't think Center Point's going that far,
I think Ben's got some input.
so,
It might just be one way too.
okay,
Okay, okay.
all right. Okay? Any other questions or concerns? Do I have a motion to approve the consent calendar as presented?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Heidi, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Brad. Last minute discussion. Call the question. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? Abstentions?
All right,
Motion carries 4 in favor, none against, 1 abstention. Informational items.
Just a few informational items reminding you there's a public hearing on our abatement and CIP bonds on June 18th, our next meeting. A special meeting for the bond sale July 30th at 5 p.m., very quick meeting, but that will then get us in that sweet spot for getting a better rate at the end of the month. Movie night in the park is Monday, June 16th, and so we'll put the big screen up in front of the band shell and have, I believe RV is playing. And then our summer concert series, I do have the list in there for you. Just to let you know, the city did their contribution, but they're putting that money toward the Friday night band for Sinclair Lewis Days, I believe is where our funding is going, because I've been asked why we're not on this Concerts in the Park donation list.
Right. Okay. Only question is what the council's wishes are on the July 30th. If we take the August 6th meeting and move it up to July 30th. I'm gone the 6th, so that means we'd have a full council if we did it on 30th.
I will not be
That's-
there for the 30th.
You won't be here for the 30th. Okay, so, all right.
I can run it.
Okay, that's, either way, one of us is gonna be gone, so I just figured I'd ask that question, so. All right, any other questions with the informational? If not, do I have a motion to adjourn? So motion by Brad, seconded by Scott.
He's too quick.
Sorry, Scott. Call the question, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries 5 in favor, none against, meeting adjourned.